Hi, my name is Brianna again, and I am a bride. Well, not a bride, I'm a military spouse, and my husband's deployed. So, today I wanted to talk a little bit about my experience being pregnant during this deployment. I am 28 years old, I'll actually be 29 shortly, and this is my first pregnancy and first child. Well, obviously, I'm saying a lot of stupid things, but anyway, my first pregnancy, we had planned on trying this summer, and then when the deployment came up, we just kind of like didn't change that plan. And I went into it like, well, hundreds of black women, thousands of black women every year have babies on their own. I can definitely go through this on my own. But that was kind of dumb because just because people do it doesn't mean that it's easy or preferred. And it has not been easy. Initially, it was hard because, well, my husband left when I was 8 weeks pregnant. And it was hard because I wanted to be able to, like, be excited with him and just look forward to the future. But he was really focused on the deployment, so that was kind of a damper. And then as I was going through first trimester, I was also taking a statistics class online, and it was a lot. It was like I'm exhausted, can't really eat the things I used to eat, also working all day and taking this class and not having anybody to sort of kind of pick up the slack for me. That was really hard. And I also didn't feel that anybody was taking care of me. I didn't feel like my husband was paying me enough attention with what I was going through. And I just didn't feel very good because the first trimester was rough. Although I was blessed enough not to have morning sickness and all that stuff. But other than that, some parts of my experience, what made it hard was, as I mentioned, just doing everything on my own and stuff I don't want to do, especially being pregnant, but still having to do it, like clean out a trash can in the middle of the summer in the South, or I gotta go get something fixed in the car. I just didn't want to do that, but I had to. So it kind of made everything a little bit more rough. And it's also worse because it's a time when it seems like things should be about you or be about me, and I should be pampered and praised and all this, but it wasn't that. It was kind of the opposite. I felt really isolated. And then there was a point when I really kept feeling like, oh my gosh, this guy acts like I'm not the person that needs attention here. I'm I don't know how many times I said it either to him or in my head. I'm pregnant with your baby, and insert whatever action he wasn't doing. So I think before he left, I did kind of talk about like how I would need extra care and all that, but you kind of have to know your spouse if this is something you're thinking about doing, because my spouse is a very one goal at a time type person. So he's talking to me every day, but he's also trying to acclimate to being overseas and not having the comforts of home and just kind of like this long journey ahead of him. So it's hard for him to really be present with what I'm experiencing because he's not here. And that was really hard for me. And I definitely cried a few times on FaceTime, like, you're not attentive and you don't seem to understand what I'm going through. But he didn't understand what I was going through because he had his own thing. He's not an intuitive person. He's not a terribly empathetic person. So it just kind of was what it was. And that was really hard. And I felt like I was becoming resentful because I'm here by myself. And by that, I mean, I live here like 12 hours away from family. And my close friends, too, they don't live here. So it's like it's just me And then I'm supposed to send him care packages, and everybody's like concerned about him, but it didn't feel like people were really concerned about me. And I guess that can sound self-serving, but it's pregnancy. It's part of it, being self-serving. But there came a time when I was about 14 weeks, and I was just so mad at him for not doing more. And I was crying a lot that week. And I did realize that I would be mad at him whether or not he's here. So it's probably better for him not to be here. I just had to accept it. And I also had to go through a time where I just kind of like released my expectations of him to help me move forward. I mean, he's not really going to change right now. He's under a lot of stress, and I'm like a little bit more than he's used to. If this was a normal circumstance, and yeah, maybe he'd be able to adapt, but like all of the factors are different. Some of the other things that don't make this the best experience is there's not really anybody around to appreciate the changes that my body's going through. It's hard for him to be connected to this pregnancy when nothing's really happening. It's mostly just I'm feeling the baby kick and I'm getting bigger, but he can't even exactly see that. And I feel like I'm so sexy right now and nobody can enjoy it. So that's kind of a bummer. But at the same time, I'm going through this knowing that unless something crazy happens, he's going to be here when the baby's born. And that's more important than him being here during this time of my pregnancy. I'm sure it's building resilience and character for me. So it's overall fine. Another thing is I don't have to take care of him. And I just have to focus on taking care of me, although I wish someone else would take care of me. I do think that just once I got into this mode, the singular mode, that it's probably a little bit easier than if you weren't here. It really is hard to gauge, but I guess if somebody's they're trying to decide if they should plan a pregnancy during a deployment, I would say if you're an emotionally high maintenance person, then you probably don't want to be doing this on your own. And also, let's say you're also isolated like I am, living far away from friends and family. If you are not an independent person, which is fine because you're married, I mean, that's part of being married, you have a teammate. But if you're not independent and it's going to be very emotionally taxing on you to have to do everything on your own, then this may not be the predicament for you. And then obviously, if you're going to have a lot of health issues, then you also don't want to be on your own. I'm generally a healthy person and I don't get sick very much, except I'm sick now. And I was sick a couple months ago, which is kind of crazy because I really don't get sick that much, but I've been sick twice during this pregnancy. But anyway, I'm generally healthy, so that wasn't something that I had to be worried about. But even still, if something does happen and my health status changes, I'm going to have to deal with that on my own. Fortunately, though, my mom, I'm sure, would come and stay with me and take care of me. Actually, funny story, she was asking me when she should come for Christmas because I'm not going to be able to travel at that time. And I was like, Mom, just pick a date. I'm not going anywhere. Just, pick a date, buy a ticket. And she asked me again. I'm like, girl, I don't know. And then the third time I was like, you just pick a date. She was like, okay, the entire month of December. I was like, no, you don't need to stay that long. But actually, she probably could stay that long and I would enjoy it. So I just wanted to talk about my experience. I think if I recorded this 4 weeks ago as I intended to, I would have had some different things to say. But I'm just at this point where the baby's really becoming a reality and it's pushing me through. And I'm at 24 weeks. I'm really close to the end. So it helps. It helps me to stay strong. And I got the baby shower coming up. There's things like that. And some of my friends are coming to visit, which is really lifting my spirits. So, just wanted to share my perspective. I hope that it's helpful and clear to you guys. And thank you so much for taking your time to look at my video and talk to me a little bit.